Right, hello. Trainspotting. What a classic film. Um, we're gonna decode this. We're gonna well, I don't know if we're really gonna decode it. We're just gonna do some connections. We're also gonna take a quick look at this uh, Trainspotting T2. Okay, I haven't actually seen this film yet. I don't know if anybody out there's got a recommendation whether it's worth watching it or not. I'm not sure whether it's worth messing with or not, but anyway, Danny Boyle stuff. Okay, now I said we'd probably do these films as well, the 28 days later sequence as well. I just did the 28 days reference in Lucas numbers. I wanted to kind of show you why that was so interesting, but I'm not going to be doing it in here. Sorry, we're not going to touch the 28 days later stuff. Okay, so this is just going to be all to do with Trainspotting and yeah, Trainspotting 2. Okay, now let's just get on with it, Dan. You're just waffling already. What we want to know is, why is Trainspotting so important? And if we look at Madonna right here, in fact, if I click this crud thing on here, if we look at Train and Madonna, you'll notice that they are pretty good matches. Okay, and even a 73 kind of inversion of the 37s here. And also note this, just pay attention to the 127. This will pop up a little bit here and there. Okay, a couple other things just to note before we get into this video is we're going to be touching on Rocco, and that's actually Rocco Ritchie, okay, which is Madonna's son. Okay, and notice that he's got the 27, double 27, and when you go to Rocco Ritchie, it's a 72. So 27, 72, super duper important, and in fact, you know, as we know with Ozzy Osbourne, 722, this is super duper important. Okay, so if we just flip back 1 second, let me just show you something. Let me show you two things. All right, actually, firstly, we want to be looking at Lucas numbers again here. Okay, if I do a cross reference with Lucas numbers, so if I take the first number of Lucas numbers and see which column it's in, okay, 27 is 29. Okay, now we will be touching on Diana's white wedding, and there's some connections in here. They're old connections that I've talked about before, but note that it's 729 is the white wedding. Yeah, 1981. I think it's 81. Okay, note the 81 there. Yeah, very important stuff, and then there's Prince Charles's birthday there. Then we got Diana's death date in reverse there, and so forth and so on. Anyway, also Diana's birthday there. So these numbers are all tightly packed in here towards the center of this table. Okay, so anyway, note that the 27 and the 29 super duper important. Okay, because of course our date that we're looking at for Hoover Dam, World War III, whatever, something big to happen on is this 9/1 date, probably most likely into 9/2. Okay, so the 1st of September into the 2nd of September. Note that Diana dies 8/31, right before 9/1. Okay. Anyway, let me show you why 27 also is super important with Lucas numbers. Okay, and for new people, this might be interesting because there's some other info in here that you're going to learn right now if you've not been watching the channel. Okay, showed you this chart before. Let's not get too bogged down with looking at all of these numbers. We only need to look at 3 rows between these 2 black lines that I'm putting in right now. The first row, Fibonacci. Second row, Lucas numbers and what I call pi numbers. Okay, in each one of these cycles, there is a set of double twins, okay? Fibonacci has the 11 and the 88. Okay, this is why we see so many 88 references to do with 9/11. Okay, because these two numbers balance each other in this cycle. Okay, they're opposing each other in the cycle, yin and yang type style. Okay, when we come to Lucas numbers now, this is where the relevance of 27 is going to be super interesting, because the set of twins for Lucas numbers is 2 2 and 7 7. Okay, 2 2 and 7 7. And then if we look at pi numbers, okay, what we're going to find for pi numbers is 44 and 55. Okay, so when you see these numbers, be aware that they kind of go in pairs as well. Yeah, so 54, 45, 27, 72s, and 18s and 81s. You've also got to be thinking about what the double digit is as well. 11, 80, 88, 22, 77, 55, and 44. The one caveat to this is there is another set of twins in each one of these cycles that is exactly the same, and it is basically just 9 opposing 9. Okay, and each one of these cycles has a 9 that is opposite the other 9. Okay. Again, here you can see the 729 is super important in Lucas numbers, because it's just it's just right here at the start of this thing. Okay, so it works. In theory, this was the center of the other table, if that makes sense. This before this was reduced, this was 11 here, and this was the 18 here. Okay, so you can see that 729 still is in the reduced format as well of Lucas numbers. Again, important. And as I've mentioned before, 29 is the perfect reduction of 11 and 18, which is the center of that last table. And without getting too wiffly waffly, it maintains the individual identity of both 11 through the number 2, okay, and then the 18 through the number 9. Okay, reduce those two, that's what you get, 2, 9, and if you add them both together, you also get 29. So it's this addition while maintaining a level of individualism as well. 88 Finiston Porsche's put a great video out about a film called Together, and you can see in that film that, and there's a lot of people in the comments that really don't get it, but the entanglement of the two sides of reality can be a bad thing as well. And this is what we're seeing. This is what I think 9/11's about. You've got the One World Trade Center, where those two entities now, which is the physical and the metaphysical, have become entangled. Okay, and so the problem is that when you think about natural law and the physical world, okay, when that becomes entangled, there's a danger of the corruption of that. Okay, what we want to do is we want to keep natural law, the physical is already perfect. It's already been laid out. It's the 10 Commandments. It's the set of rules that is set in stone. That wants to be the principal thing that we maintain. And then what we want to do is we want to look at the metaphysical. And if we don't know what we're quite doing when we're jumping into the metaphysical, inventing things and so forth and so on, and having ideas, we can refer back to the thing that's already there, that's perfect and can't be changed, which is the physical world. So we want that reflective nature to be there. Okay, we don't want entanglement, so to speak, in that respect. Alright, getting way too wiffly waffly. One last thing, with this last beginning and end cycle on pi numbers, let me just show you something. Note the 3, 1 or 13 there for reading backwards, and the 7. Okay, 7, 13 with Donald Trump, Donald Trump's ear wound. Yeah, notice how that fits in with the beginning and end of a cycle with pi. Okay, yeah, I know it's a bit of fudgery. We're reading the number backwards, but whatever. Okay, right, let's get off of this because this has taken way too long already just to establish why we're even looking at train and what the importance of these numbers are before we just go matching up numbers willy-nilly. You know, got to. My feelings on decoding is you have to have the context of the number that you're looking at correct, because a lot of numbers can switch from, you know, a positive connotation to a negative connotation. You know, when everybody's going on about, you know, 187 murder, death, kill, 38 murder, you know, all these negative connotations of those things. Yes, we're going to see that, and a lot of these numbers are actually, especially when they're end and beginning dates, that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a death and a resurrection. Death, resurrection, all the time. Okay, so it's very easy to focus in on the you know, doom and gloom sells, doom and gloom sells, but you know, we got to get some kind of context as to what is going on with these numbers, rather than just playing spot the difference, basically. I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys out there, but anyway, Trainspotting. So we know why Trainspotting is so important, because we're dealing with Madonna and Train matching up. So let me show you a couple more things before we get into the actual film and number jumps and stuff. Obviously, in Back to the Future, there is several sequences that, you know, tie into the train. In fact, this one here is an important one because this is the death of the DeLorean, which again is a metaphysical reference. Okay, this is the idea that Marty can travel into a different dimension or a different realm or somewhere that would be almost like imaginary. You know, when he gets back to 1955, he's like, this has got to be a dream. You know, this is again a reference to Madonna here. Okay, with the destruction of this DeLorean, just as previous to this scene, we had the, well, I've got a picture of it up here somewhere, I think. The Back to the Future train, 131 train, coming off the edge of the cliff, so to speak, where the bridge hasn't been finished. You know, there isn't this man on wire going across from one side of reality to the other with this thing, because this thing is the corrupt version of the train, the black with just a little bit of red and white. Okay, predominantly black, the black pearl that is getting destroyed at this point. So again, this 131, and we're going to look at some connections with this train too. I think I've got it up here because it's very similar in the idea. Here it is, this Montparnasse train wreck that happened in Paris, 1895. Yeah, a very long time ago, 129 years. 22nd of October, which is fascinating. It's a personal reference, but it's also, this is again, Christopher Lloyd's birthday is an October the 22nd date. Okay, again, this train coming over through the station and crashing down. Okay, very similar. If you notice the number on the side of the train, it's number 721. You know, okay, and we can go through all these numbers down here, and there's a bunch of I've done it before. There's no point in going through it. You can just look for yourself right now and read it if you want. You know, number of passengers 131. You know, this 721 again. Remember, we had the gematria, the 127 with Madonna. You know, so we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about the original train for the original steam train that was in Back to the Future as well. Okay, its actual build day and everything else, and the fact that it actually is not quite historically correct, I don't think, or at least the number that's on it isn't historically correct for what it is here. But we'll talk about that in a minute. I wanted to show you this one last thing, which was the Who's That Girl scene, which ties us back to the Future. I've got it paused on a certain spot here. This is it's a Porsche 944. Okay, so we're going to also look at the 944 in relation to there's a whole bunch of 994 stuff coming up with this as well. I mean, it's a date that I've looked at for Madonna croaking on before as well, because it's, you know, there's just heavy encoding for it. But anyway, we got a couple of 944 bits and pieces in here. I just wanted to note this on this license plate here, the RCP 259. Now, if you remember, I think a Decode or two back, we were talking about Rocco Ritchie. If Madonna was to croak on 8/20, okay, this is the big date that we're looking at, by the way, spoiler alert, 8/20, that would make him 25 years, 9 days. Okay, and we were talking about the 8/25 being the day before and him being late, okay, to his, you know, late to save his mother, so to speak. So anyway, but it would make him 25 years, 9 days on 8/20. I just thought it was interesting. We do have the R in there, but I couldn't see how you could really connect that back in with Rocco much more than just an R and the 259 in here. Maybe there is something I'm missing there. But anyway, let me just show you just a little bit further on, a little bit back, because this is what we want to show you, is the Rolls Royce going in front of this train. Okay, the same looking train. In fact, that's a picture of that car again. Where the hell did I have it now? I've got to go down to that as well in a minute. Hang on. Oh well, we'll do that in just a second. Where did I have the blooming? I feel like I had this up on a. Maybe it was one of these little ones. Oh, I can't remember now. This is what I say. You probably, hopefully, you've already put this in 1.5 speed. There it is. It's on a picture there, Dan. Come on. So that's that same train. Okay. Kind of fascinating. That was right next to it. Goodness. Okay. I actually can't remember off the top of my head what the number on this one was, on this loco, compared with these other ones. Notice there's 2 there. Okay. Right. Let's bear into it. Let's get to the film, okay, and then we'll backtrack with some of these connections, because it's just absolutely nuts. The film, what you're going to notice is the release date of the film here, the 23rd of February 96. There is something interesting about this. If we look at the female in Trainspotting, okay, her name in the film, who she's playing, let's just go down to it, is right here, Diane. Okay, Diane. Alright, so we've got this reference back to Diana, and then if we look at her actual birthday, what is fascinating about this, come on, and this could be a big reference to it, and I need to go back and show you again why this is interesting. But if we look at this is her birthday is the 23rd of February. Okay, except it's 1967. Okay, so the film comes out in 96. and this is 67. That makes her 20 years old when the film is released. The 20. Okay, so we've already got a 20 reference. You know, maybe for the 20th. So we maybe already have this 20th reference with her. Kind of interesting. And again, if we were to go back to the table and I were to show you the Temple of Diana again, which is the clock tower, this is why this chart is so blooming interesting. You know, when you put the clock tower in here, yeah, again, you have the pillars here. That 20 is the metaphysical doorway, the gateway into the temple, the Z, the ZZ top, yeah, the metaphysical is the O, the Y for Aussie, the clock tower, the face, the 1004, and just note this, you know, what age does, because we'll come on to this in just a second, what age does Diana die at? Diana dies at the age of 36. I don't know if you can make that out, I've got kind of a scribble on there. 36. Cross-reference it. 10, 4. Okay. Fascinating stuff, isn't it? And again, let me show you. So we've got this right here. Let me put the 4. So there's another line that I can put in here, which is the 4 line. Okay. I don't usually have it in here, but I need to just show you this. So chart 4. I've just got it scribbled in. You know, notice what is above the doorway here. Yeah, the 1-7. Okay. With this purple line in here, okay, what you notice is the new set of totals down the bottom here. We've got Donald Trump's birthday numbers popping out, and we're going to see a lot of that popping out. And then, you know, you see the 27 showing up, the 47, the 72. This is all interesting stuff. Like today would have been Hulk Hogan's 72nd birthday. Yeah. So all this interesting stuff showing up here, right? And then again, if we come across right next to this now, the 28 is right here. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of super duper interesting stuff when we do the cross-reference again with 410. The clock stopping. Look what number we got popping up. 9191. Okay. So what I like about this is it kind of gives us a little bit of context. I mean, you know, it kind of gives us a little bit of context towards some of the meaning behind some of the numbers, maybe, or some of the cross references to other numbers. Maybe it's just all BS, I don't know, but it's just interesting. Oh dear, let me show you one more cross reference while we're here. 2009. Note that is 1214. Notice that the dude on the dollar bill with all these references, that is his death date. Washington's death date is the 14th of December. Okay, again, super important, right? Okay, let's get off of this. Let's get back to here. And of course, actually, no, let's not get off of it. 223. There's a couple other numbers I just want to point out. 223 in reverse is right here. Yeah. So again, it's the 12th Lucas number, which again with Madonna and this character, we're going to see this pop up. We're going to see, I think this is going to pop up. I don't know. But this 21112, and before I move on any further, Madonna's, you know, if she from her birthday out through to the potential death date was 2 different sets of numbers, depending on whether you include end date or not. This one right here is the 21st Lucas number. Okay, and Lucas numbers obviously is important because it starts with the number 21. Okay, so this is a really important number, and if you include end date, you will also get 2, 4, 4, 777. And we were talking about this with the bridge in GoldenEye, with the 247 on it, which again is also Hulk Hogan's death date. Now, the reason why Hulk Hogan is so important is because these numbers right here, 8, if we abbreviate this number here, this 8, and it also shows up right here as well, which is a 4-9 reference, but 811 is Rocco Ritchie's birthday, which is also the Hulk's birthday, and Rocco Ritchie is born on the 47th Hulk birthday. Okay, again 47, as you see, shows up a lot in Lucas numbers. Super duper important. Anyway, okay, hopefully you can probably maybe pause that and even have a look at the table for yourselves. You'll see a whole bunch of, like, we're going to be talking about funeral rites here in a minute. Her video thing that she did that's 2 minutes 22 long. Okay, notice that it's in the 8 column here. And notice the cross-reference with the 10 here, 1022, and the 822, and the 1008. It's kind of like, if you can bear this, if you can keep this in the back of your mind, it's super duper important. Okay. I'm not gonna be able to get rid of all that. Let's crack on. So the importance of Trainspotting is they're putting this out 20 years on her birthday. Okay, and so in fact, if you've seen the film, you'll know that Renton meets her and they get together, and he kind of cleans up. It's kind of his journey out of the Matrix, so to speak. But he meets her, and that I don't know if that kind of motivates him to start trying to get out of the. It's been quite a while since I've seen Trainspotting, but I feel like she kind of motivate. There's kind of this idea that almost like she could be the savior sort of thing. Anyway, wiffly waffling. We got to do some number jumps here, so we're going to start whizzing through some of these, and hopefully we'll see some interesting stuff. Anyway, from her birthday through to now, this is the release date of Trainspotting Part 2. Okay, this is T2. Now notice the 14949. Notice this 49 stuff popping up again. Notice we had the 944. Let me show you why that's important as well. With the 49. Okay, not only is the 49 cross-referencing back here with this number again with Madonna, with her son's birthday number and Hulk Hogan, but also we want to go back to this chart where it has the cycles of these things, and the midpoint in this whole table is right here, the 44. Now notice, why is this so important? Yeah, 4944. Okay. Again, the 94. Seen so much stuff from Madonna with this. Okay. In fact, in GoldenEye, the train's number is this, and the tank's number is this. It's referencing this 44, and obviously because of that, I've like, it could be 44. It could be a 44 death date, a 944, 48 death date. It just so happens that the number we're looking at could also exist here. Okay, you add the 4, you double that 4 up, and you're going to double the 7 up here. Okay, or you don't even need to double the 7 up. In fact, you could just look to this next number on. 6 7's there, so 2 4 4 7 6. Going that way would be the number. So this is just interesting stuff. Okay, how many times can I say this is interesting? But there's four, you know, again, 44944, you know, and conversely to that, the numbers that are balancing in with these numbers that are at the center of the table is 95, yeah, 115, 915, all those kind of numbers. Now you've seen those numbers with We Seek We Find channel. Please go over, if you're not aware of all of the references to 195 and all the connections and tiebacks with that, highly recommend go find a channel called We Seek We Find. Okay, let me show you something though. So this 149, yeah, and let me show you. So that Rocco Ritchie thing is kind of interesting with the Porsche 944, because I've got him in here somewhere still. I want to show you this, why this is interesting, and there's something I should have shown before that's also interesting, and there's another number jump there as well. There's actually several little number jumps in here that we're going to have to get onto. I kind of try not to go out of order here because I don't really want to. Here he is. So this was our Rocco Ritchie from his birthday through to this potential Madonna death date was 9140. Then here's the 25 9 days, yeah, that's on the Porsche 944. And again, we could go back a day with Madonna's number here to the 19th, and we were getting the 25/8, you know, too late. Okay, and this 825 is showing up a bunch more, and there's more significance to that number than I just talked about, you know, than just matching up with Back to the Future. It's actually part of that other table, part of two columns in that other table, and it's actually part of, if you were to, well, it's too difficult to explain right now, but it's a very important sort of balancing number, 825. Anyway, something I should have shown you before as well is this 9. So this is 4, you know, however you want to look at this number, if you just want to completely scramble it, or if you just want to look at 914 or 419. We can go to this, which is really interesting, which is the beginning of the United States through to 9/1, which is this date that we've been looking at for the Hoover Dam, coming up, maybe World War III to start or kick off due to something happening at the Hoover Dam maybe. Again, I've been showing this number, the We Seek We Find version of it. If I unclick that, 914 now appears, yeah. So this is, again, you know, super duper important. The 914 stuff is super duper important, okay, with this end date stuff, okay. What else we got? So now we're going to have to really start jumping around a little bit, because that 914 stuff will come up again later. Where did we get to? Let's just go through kind of in some format of order. We were to here, okay. 149, yeah, 4949. What is? Oh man, there's so many interesting things here. Hang on. Man, we're going to kick off on a completely different route right now. Let me show you this. So this is her birthday through to this 729, okay, that I just showed you in the table there. Why that's important, I got to show you a couple of things as why that is important, and it's in here somewhere. Maybe we shouldn't go on to that quite yet. Maybe we'll come back to this one in just a minute, this 1984, because this is going to tie us in. Well, no, maybe I can do this quickly. 1984, obviously, when we're thinking 1984, I know people are shouting at the screen now, 1984, the film, the George Orwell book. Okay? So 1984, that's the number jump I was looking for a second ago as well. Do I have it up here even? No, I don't, but I have what I need up here. I can actually backtrack here. 1984. If you know the dude that is the dude that is the antagonist in 1984 is blah 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 John Hurt. Okay, now John Hurt, as we can just see there, is also in V for Vendetta. Sorry, what was I just saying? He's the good. Sorry, he's the protagonist in 1984. Actually, let's go back to 1984 real quick, okay? Because there's a couple of things I want to note about John Hurt. Number one, he's got the 122 numerology. Okay, now we've gone through this I don't know how many times with Madonna. I'm not going to go through it again. In fact, we've seen it just there with the 1022 train. Okay, and Die Another Day stuff, that's all 122 numbers. Okay, that connection back in with Diana again. Notice he's the 194 with the 1940. Okay, notice also that he dies on the 28th of January 2017. This is going to become important in just a second. In fact, we'll jump back to it in just a second, because this is of course the 28th day of the year as well. So so even though it's a 128, it's also a direct reference to the number 28 as well. Okay, so the 280 works for this pretty good as well. Notice he's 77 years old when he dies, because of, you know, we got a whole bunch of 77 stuff in here as well. But what I want to just point out is this date, the 28th of January 2017. If we just come back to, let's drop off of her now. If we go back to the film itself, okay, well, I know I'm going to go to T2. They release Trainspotting 2 the 27th of January 2017. The day, so he dies right after this, the day after. Yeah? And just in case you didn't think there was a connection there, they're putting in the, you know, an Edinburgh release of January the 22nd as well. So just in case you didn't think, oh yeah, okay, maybe it's connected, maybe it's not, they've just bunged in the January 22nd release date as well. So, you know, this connection to John Hurt, where's he gone now? Where was I? I've lost it. Oh gosh, there's a whole bunch to get through here, sorry. This connection to John Hurt with Trainspotting, super duper interesting, and this 1984 reference, okay? Because in 1984, in fact, if I backtrack again, it'll probably come up with 1984. Hang on. Back. No, we're back to V for Vendetta. Back up again. What was this going to go to? Back to John. This is just going to go around in circles with John Hurt and V for Vendetta. Okay, here we go. Notice the V in here. Obviously, there's tons of references in 1984. But again, let's look at the feminine interest here. Ah dear, Susanna Hamilton, desperately seeking Susan. Oh, you just can't write it, you know. What's the chances of her name, Susan? February the 8th. Like I said, we're going to be all over the place with this. Now, you know, okay, it connects to V for Vendetta. Now we can connect back in with a whole bunch of other stuff. You know, the references are just crazy, you know, and they've got, you know, again, Hamilton, and they've got this T2, yeah, like Terminator 2, like like T2 for Terminator 2. And then now I'm thinking of oh gosh, what's her name? Linda Hamilton. Okay, the End of the World, Terminator 2, Linda Hamilton, or even Terminator 1, and she's married to whatchamacallit. I'm getting lost for names now. Whatever his name is, born on the same day as Madonna. Okay, same day of the year. Oh, come to me in a second. Okay, but again, Linda Hamilton, James Cameron, that's it. James married to James Cameron. James Cameron's born on 8/16 as well. You know, yada yada yada. It goes on round and round in circles. We go. Okay. Anyway, so you know, this is just really interesting when we're trying back to, you know, Viva Vendetta again. If we can. I'm gonna show you a little picture of Viva Vendetta here now, because I'm not really going to go back and look at any more with Viva Vendetta right now. But I did want to show you this. Now, you know, when the whole thing comes to the end, yeah, again, it's the train that is V is dead here, and he's heading on into blow up the system, so to speak. Okay, let's just leave it at that. Okay, you know, there's so many films that connect back in with each other with this stuff. Okay, I'm gonna leave it there for getting sidetracked with this, but the train reference, man, it is just everywhere. It is. There's a lot of it. You know, it wouldn't surprise me, to be quite honest, if it was, you know, if they do a proper staged event, she's going to be going across the railroad tracks or something. You know, it's going to be something to do with the train. More than likely, she'll be going across the railroad tracks in a bloody car, or you know, in a limo or something, and the car will get hit. Yeah, that's what I reckon. You know, if they were going to stage something and it was really going to be something, that's what you'd expect to see, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be? Anyway, it'd probably be a crossing as well, you know, so we can get the cross reference in there, we get the train reference, the car crash reference with Diana, you know, yeah, Diana dies in a tunnel. Oh dear. Okay, what else we got? Let me know, we've got a ton to get through here, guys. Hang on, let's back up a little bit. I wanted to show you actually, now what is interesting, where is it? This one right here. I just, on the topic, we're going to get onto the white wedding in a minute again. I just showed you that number jump, and I said, no, hang on, because we've got to deal with Ozzy, yeah, with the world famous Crazy Train with Ozzy, and we've got to deal with you know, this connection back to the Crazy Train Madonna. Anyway, funeral rites. That video by Madonna. 2 potential release dates. One was the 27th of February. The other date was the 28th of February. Somehow they've got it double dated. If you look it up on Google, you're going to get, you know, a YouTube player up which says released 2/27. If you go to the actual video, you're going to see in the description 2/28. Anyway, the point I'm trying to get to is that these 2 dates are 30 days apart. Okay, now there's something special with the 30 days, because let me just put this in here, and I'll explain it now as we're going along, because we're going to come back to it in just a second, because it's important with the 2 people I'm looking at here. Okay, so from that date through to 7/29, okay, is, well, you can see it, 7 days. Okay, and if we go back 22 days from this date, so knock off 20 is going to get us back to the start of at the end of July, sorry, the 31st of July, and then we got to knock off another 2 days. It's going to take us again to, well, 7/29. Okay, so you can see that with Ozzy Osbourne and Madonna, these 2 rituals would be tying these 2 together with 7/22 again, but through to this date here. Okay, and like I said, you know, 2/7 is the reference to 29. See how the stuff dies back on, you go around in circles. Anyway, what's interesting about this is they are 30 days apart. Okay, or if you unclick that, 29. Okay, which is working for the 729. Okay, that's why that works. But so if you include the end date, you got the 30 days. Now, what's interesting is with this 30 days is that we've got two interesting people right now, which is one is Peyton Manning here with the 3/24/1976, and then whatever her name is out of Trainspotting. What is her name? It's something. Hang on, let's go to this a minute. Kelly McDonald. Okay. Where were we at? So her birthday, Diane from Trainspotting, through to wrong thing here now. Through to Peyton Manning's is also 30 days, but we go in 30/31 instead of 29/30. Okay. So this makes a lot of these number jumps for these two things tie in together. Yeah. I just happened to know, I just was like, I wonder how many days apart these two are, seeing as they're both born in 76. And I'm like, 30. And how many days apart's Aussie? And 30. You can make that work for the 30/30. Noticing Back to the Future, Marty does 30-year number jump, jumps. 30 years back, 30 years forward. Okay, and it gives you the 33 in the end of the day. Anyway, I just wanted to note that because we're going to come on to some Peyton Manning and number jumps, that were, remember with the Peyton Manning stuff and the 7/22, he was 18 days old. Well, we're going to see a bunch of 18 whatever days. Very interesting stuff coming up. Hang on. What other bits we got in here? Oh, release of the actual film, Trainspotting 1, through to Diana. Well, we want to have a quick look at Diana, don't we? Through to her death. I just thought this was interesting. 555. That's got to be an interesting number, doesn't it? I don't think there was anything interesting down here though. Prime 4019. 419 coming up right there. Unbelievable. That's the reverse of the 914. Okay. Oh dear. Anyway, 555. This is very interesting with the idea of the Holy Spirit returning, like Pentecost, the dove from above returning, the 555, and there is. I don't know if I'll get to it in here, but there was a big pentagonal number in here somewhere. I don't know if we'll come across it or not again. It might be lost now. I don't know. It was like the 100th pentagonal number that came up in one of these number jumps, which was well interesting as well. So this idea of the 5-pointed star, the Holy Spirit, yeah, the metaphysical side of reality. Okay, what have I got here? I thought I would do, so as I was saying, we had Peyton Manning's 1818 number jump. I thought, well, I'll do 1818 for her and see where it comes out. Lo and behold, it is something interesting. 6/23 is the original release date of Who's That Girl, which is this song right here. Okay. Notice, now I'll tie this back in with the White Wedding again for you. This outfit that she's wearing, this is reminiscent, this is a personal reference for me, this is reminiscent of a suit combo that my grandfather used to wear, and his birthday actually is 6/23. Okay, now they've since changed that date release on Who's That Girl on Wikipedia to 6/29. So it would be difficult for you to find, it would be difficult to find that. But the 6/23 is actually, again with the train. Do I have it up here? With that train in Back to the Future, let me just go to this very quickly before we tie that back to the White Wedding. Note that its build date is March the 26th, 1891. Okay, so this is the original train that's in Back to the Future. March the 26th, 1891. I mean, you just can't write this stuff. And again, if we just jump back to her number jump again, if we just do this, okay, we got the 18 and the 19 tying back in with this particular date as well. Okay, tying us back in with Peyton Manning as well. Okay, anyway, this outfit here, what you'll notice is if you go to the Billy Idol song, why is this important? Because Bill I, which is one, Bill 1 doll, Billy Idol references the $1 bill. Okay, but anyway, the White Wedding, Billy Idol's White Wedding song, if you, where is it? If you look in the crowd in the White Wedding song, you'll notice this dude's dressed up with the unibrow like Madonna, you know, and the outfit on, the Madonna outfit for Who's That Girl. Okay, so anyway, and the big White Wedding, of course, is Princess Charles and Diana in 1981. Now, there is an interesting number jump with her, I think, through to that date. I can't remember what it was. I think it was just like, maybe it was just 200 and something days. I'm sure I had it in here. Where's it bloody gone? Sorry about this. This is why I don't like doing these great big videos, because there's just way too much information. No, this wasn't it. This is actually something else that we'll come on to in just a minute with that number. Okay, hang on. No, I thought I had a number jump for her through to the White Wedding. Anyway, don't worry about that now. This is getting way too confusing. Let's continue on. So just bear that in the back of your mind, this connection to the White Wedding again, the 729, right? So anyway, what else have we got in here? So we just did this one. The connection back with the train again, with the 623 and this number jump being the 1891 if we want it to be. Okay, and it's the same as Peyton Manning. We then come on to this, which is the release of the film again, through to Madonna's potential death date, coming up here in a few days' time. Look at the number 10771. I will click it and see if it does anything interesting. But this again, with Diana's birthday, the 1st of July, the 7-1. This is very, very important. Again, if I just re-reference back to this again, you know, we're dealing with Lucas numbers. Okay, what is at the center of this particular version of this chart is in Lucas numbers here on the first release of it. Okay, is this number here, yeah, 17. Okay, super duper important, right at the center of that cycle there. Okay, so that's super important. Was this, maybe this was the one that had the, no, this was 1312. So there's the 131 train, the 213 Lucas numbers tied into that. You know, we're kind of just picking and choosing stuff out of there now. Blah 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 blah, nothing major, right? But anyway, again, a prime number, fairly special, and got some nice numbers in there. Let me show you this now. This is mental as well. Again, tying back into a train as well. This is Kelly Diane's birthday again, through to Madonna's death. Check out this, 18077, 1877. Let me show you something with this other train that goes off that's like the train that goes off the cliff in Back to the Future, with the Madonna numbers on it, and there's a whole bunch of other numbers that tie into Madonna in there. But let me show you. I've got some info on it. This is all I could really find out about it. Look at the year, so the build date, we don't get an exact date, but look at it, 1877. This train's built in 1877. Oh dear, oh dear. And not only that, but this is again the murder, death, kill, the 187. Okay, in Demolition Man, the murder, death, kill is referenced a lot, yeah, and that is the 187. Okay, and there is another 187 in here somewhere. Oh dear, that's that same one repeated. Sorry, you probably can't see them coming up there. I thought I did have another 187 in here. Oh dear, maybe might be gone now. Oh dear, sorry. No. Well, I'm sure I had a different 187 somewhere as well, but I don't know, it's gone now. Okay, moving on. This is now we're going to tie back in with Desperately Seeking Susan a little bit. Okay, Desperately Seeking Susan. This number jump right here. Okay, let's click it. This is back through to Trainspotting the film. 63rd square. Again, if you recall, the 1004 cross-reference went with 36. This is the age that 36 is when the age that Diana dies at, the age of 36. 6 sixes are 36, and now we're on to the 63rd square, which I thought was marginally interesting. But again, if you click this end date here, I've been getting a lot of these numbers where there's been zeros on the end. I'm just like, well, what is this number here? Like the 397. Okay, and you click 397, and then all of a sudden it becomes interesting because it's a 78th prime. Now, Who's That Girl is released 1987 on the 7th of August. Okay, 8787 references. So this becomes very super duper interesting, And of course, Madonna's first white wedding was to Sean Penn, who is a 187 as well. This is also important with the connection back to the white wedding with this, his birthday being the 17th of August, So these numbers popping up again are important, okay? Like I probably would have forgot to say that, but like a lot of this stuff, I forget to say a lot of stuff. Anyway, what have I got here? I've got Madonna through to this white wedding date now, and you'll notice it's the 8383. Now, in Funeral Rites, the video by Madonna, which came, is too long. Again, a connection back to 28 and 1022, like that train. Funeral Rites has several references to 38 or 83 in it. Okay, on the bottom of her shoe, she has a reference, and also the revolver, I believe, is the 38. So there's a couple of references to that in the film. I just thought it was worth mentioning because we're going to see some 83, 38 stuff, and we had a whole bunch of this stuff show up with Diana. Yeah, I may have even shown. I don't know if I showed this or not. But again, the 138 and 83 stuff all tying into Diana. This one we've done. That was What's His Face, and we're going to come on to something that's well interesting here in a second. Why did I have this in here? 18047. Again, this with why was this interesting? This is What's His Face, Ozzy's death, which again with this number here, with the 47, I don't know, when we've got Ozzy and Madonna tying together, okay, we've also got this 118 with Madonna's son, and the Hulk Hogan with the with the 47th birthday on that date. Okay, I know this is very reduced, but I thought that was interesting. I believe there's another reference to that in here somewhere with her and the jump that will tie us in. I don't know. Like that comes up again here in a minute. But anyway, okay, what we got here? Okay, this is the release of V for Vendetta. Okay, V for Vendetta through to Donald Trump's birthday, because we're going to get onto, so there's some connections with Donald Trump coming up here in just a second. So this V for Vendetta through to Donald Trump's birthday with the 729 again. Okay. This is a good place to segue into this. I think so. I think we should segue into, what was this one? I guess before we segue into this other bit, let's do just a couple more 149 references. So with the Porsche 944, with the 91,004 days to the end of the United States, maybe on 9/1, to the Rocco Ritchie through to 8/20, death of his mother, maybe with the whatever that number was, I can't remember now. Was it 9140, something like that? This is the birth of that original train that's in Back to the Future, through to Madonna's death, and this is what was popping up. 4991. Okay. Again, when we know the back cross references, like the to the 49 back to the 118, and we know all of the other bloody references with the 419 stuff in it. Now this looks well interesting, doesn't it? Okay. What else we got here? This was interesting as well. So this is the other train, and this is when it has that crash in Paris through to Madonna's death date. And straight away when I saw this again, I'm like, bloody hell, look, 47 and the 419 with, I don't know, I'm picking numbers out here, but again with Rocco Ritchie's sort of day age when this occurs, and the fact that number 47, which is the Hulk's 47th birthday, tying in with this, it's just like blooming hell. And then we had the Hulk's numbers on the tunnel as well, and the Hulk's numbers match up with Madonna's day jump numbers. Yeah, the 724 matches up with the 24477. Crazy. What was this one? Now we're jumping back to Ozzy. Okay, so with this connection with the White Wedding with Ozzy and the Crazy Train, and this is Ozzy's birthday through to Rocco's birthday, the 18880. Now I believe there was another 1880. There's that 187. There's the other 187. 227 was the, so this is the 187 was the tie-in with the release of Funeral Rites through to 9/1, and the 187's popping up, and the 6/6, 6 months, 6 days. I believe there was another. What was this one? That's the same one as we've done that one. That's a duplicate. Done that. And I wish there was, maybe there wasn't another 188. I thought I had a matchup for 188 in here to do with Peyton Manning. I don't even know where Peyton Manning's stuff's gone in here. Here's Peyton Manning. Let's just run him out, because I think we wanted to do, I felt like here's the 1847. So what was the 1847 before? I can't remember. This is the problem. I was just keeping track of all this stuff as well. It's just way too, it's just overload, you know. This was hers through to Ozzy's death, and of course, because they're 30 days apart and everything, this is what was fascinating about them being 30 days apart, is now Peyton Manning's works with the same numbers, the 1847, albeit with the end date included, for Madonna, and so forth and so on. And so you can keep doing this kind of looking at, you know, what numbers are popping up. And if we go to 888, this was what was interesting. Okay, so Peyton Manning's with the 18088 is coming out on the Hoover Dam's birthday. Connects us back in with the Hoover Dam, and that was connecting us back with whatever that bloody thing was there as well. Try and tie it together a little bit, Dan. That one I want to show you in just a second. Now, is this it? Yeah, Ozzy and the sun. Yeah, Peyton Manning and the Hoover Dam. That's the idea, that the sun is going to come out from the dam. Okay, what was this one? 322 was when they recorded Crazy Train. Through to the train crashing. Notice the 3833, you know, the 38 numerology showing up again here. Just kind of interesting. That was just one in passing. What was this one? 123 1985. Yeah, this is another Madonna song. This is Material Girl now. Okay, and I just thought this was, I don't know why I have this one in here actually, but it's to do with this number jump. And I believe I can't remember what it was now. It might be the same one as what I'm going to show you. But there was a number jump with the 14646, which is Donald Trump's birthday. And this number jump as well, I saw in the comments, no, not in the comments, in the actual video, one of Decoding from Cody's videos, Decoding with Cody, sorry. He mentions a number jump similar to this. I can't remember what it was though. I think it was like, maybe it was Back to the Future through to something with Donald Trump. Maybe his birthday even. I can't remember now. But it came out at the birthday numbers. And it was exactly the same number jump. And I'm like, oh, I just had that in one of my decodes. And then it may have been this actually, I don't know. I can't remember. But what was interesting about this is Ozzy's, actually it might have been this particular one. This is Ozzy's birthday numbers, but just for in the song Material Girl, and then through to 228. And again, Material Girl's well important because of the reference back to cash, you know, money. I've got it up there, don't need to go to it. What else have we got? I feel like let's do, okay, so we've got to tie this back in with another character here. Now, how am I going to do this? Hang on a minute. What do we have here? Okay. I want to go to, let's go to funeral rites. Let me show you some stuff in here. So this is fully loaded, this film. In fact, I want to also reference you the idea that in this film there's a reference back. So firstly, bear in mind this. So this image here reminded me of either Cruella de Vil or Maleficent. Okay. Now we talked about Maleficent in another video. We're going to talk about Cruella de Vil here, and this is a really important connection here. Okay, so bear that in mind. But this also ties back in. This whole thing has references back to Desperately Seeking Susan. In fact, let's find that reference because it's a pretty easy one. Okay, we'll just, well, come on. Okay, this is, we'll try to keep this PG, but notice the bra here that is extremely revealing. Let me show you a shot of something in Desperately Seeking Susan. Okay, here she's opening up the Skull and Crossbones case, and you'll notice the bra that's extremely revealing again. The black bra with, you can basically see her nipples through it. So there's little references like this to other things in this funeral rites video. Anyway, the Cruella de Vil thing, I believe, I felt like there was almost a, you know, this whole thing here with the limousine and everything else and that. Let me show you who Cruella de Vil is. Where is she? Right here. Any wonder why she's got this bloody shriek in her hair? I honestly, the reason why they've done this is, I'm sure, to connect her back with Madonna, with the 101. You know, check this. Check this birthday. April the 12th, 1981. The release of Desperately Seeking Susan is April the 12th, 1985. I might have mentioned this. They're 4 years, you know, this is 4 years apart. Okay. And I think I had a number jump for that in here. I can't remember what it was now though. I might actually have it in here still. Okay, here it is, 4 years, yeah, and look at what it comes out at. 146, yeah, Trumpy boy, yeah, you can read that. The 14th, pretty easy, the 14th of June, okay. Look at this with the, that's a 285. Anyway, what was I going to say about this? Let's do another number jump with her. And maybe this was the number jump I had in. But this is 518. Like I said, I can't remember what I've done and what I haven't done now. But this is the release of a film. Where's the blooming film? Cruella. Look at this release date down here. They just had to have May the 18th in here. May the 28th as well. But we're going to do the May the... Where the hell is it? This one. So May the 18th, yes, right way around, through to her birthday. Oh, look. 14646, Donald Trump's birthday. Oh dear. Yeah. So not only does she have the same, she's got the same birthday as the release of Desperately Seeking Susan, but not only that, but they're spaced far enough apart to get some Donald Trump numbers there. And then this film, they had to have a 10-day early release date here with the 518 to get this as well. Oh dear, oh dear. Anyway, I thought, well, I'll just have a look at her birthday through to the actual White Wedding of Diana as well. See what we're getting. 108, 109, again with Madonna, with the Guy Ritchie wedding. Yeah, he is 910. His birthday is 910, and this is the 19 numerology for the end of the world, so to speak. And don't forget again, the other person that ties into the White Wedding here. Yeah, guess who the other person is? Bloody Sharon Osbourne. Her birthday, 10/9. Yeah, the 9th of October, all tying to the wedding. It's just absolutely nuts. What was this one? This is Crazy Train through to Tulsi Gabbard's birthday. Look at it. 212. we've had this number show up now in a couple other guises. Okay, we had another one with, I can't remember what it was. I think it was Crazy Train. I can't really remember. But anyway, if you go back several videos, it's probably one of those ones with custard pie or something. I believe it might have even been custard pie through to the day before 819 with Madonna. I think it was bringing up the 2112 prime. And again, this references Lucas numbers 21 and then 21 again. With the 21st Lucas number. Wow, look at the time. I wonder how long this video is. Probably getting really long now. So it's Tulsi Gabbard stuff with this reference maybe to Cruella de Vil here and Cruella herself. Yeah. And again, there's so many different avenues. The 101, of course, is hugely connected to. Obviously, it's the 101 is the day after the Hoover Dam's birthday. 101 is Hoover Gematria. Or was it Hoover Dam Gematria? I can't remember now. And 101 is what goes across the Golden Gate Bridge and yada yada yada. Yeah, that's the Twin Towers with the bloody 0 at the bottom, and no doubt the connection with the Dalmatians and firefighters and the firefighters at 9/11. And so, all the superficial, or I don't say superficial connections, but they're all just connections, I think we've pretty much covered everything. What was this one? Here's this. Okay, that was the train. This is the train through to Hulk's birthday. 21112 showing up. No doubt, it's going to be showing up a lot. I think pretty much done everything, haven't we? Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it there. Yeah, we've done a lot. We'll get on to the blimmin' 28-day later stuff. There's some really interesting codes in that as well. I honestly don't know if I've got I don't know if I've got the will to do it tonight, but maybe I'll do it tomorrow night. But yeah, anyway, I think I've covered everything. The fascinating thing is this. Oh, what's this? 91, 13th triangular, 6 square pyramidal. Did we ever come across the 100? I don't know if we ever did. We come across the 100 pentagonal? I don't think we did we? What was this one? Just out of interest. Oh, look at this. I mean, this is what you can't write. Look at it. 2072. Prime. Yeah. Again, with Rocco Ritchie's 72 stuff, the Madonna 127, but just crazy. And this whole reference to the 27, the 277. I'm gonna call it a night. Somewhere buried in there was that 100 pentagonal, unless we did it and I completely forgot about it. Yeah, I don't think it was like one of these, was it? Come on. Right. See, this is what you should get most of the time. just not that interested in stuff, But right now it seems like there's a higher proportion of stuff coming out on prime numbers that are actually kind of interesting prime numbers, and kind of interesting numbers that you can kind of separate out with, some meaning to them. I don't know. Okay. Thanks for watching. If I was Madonna, I wouldn't on the 20th, the 19th through to the 20th, and the 20th through to the 21st. Because of course all those dates tie into the 20th. I probably would not be getting in a car and going across a set of railroad tracks if I could help it. But anyway, yeah, thanks for watching. Oh dear. Okay, probably nothing will happen. As usual, probably nothing will happen. It's just another one of these, probably another date that just ties everything together. Okay. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I will catch you on another one soon. All right. Cheers. Night. God bless.